All right. Well, first of all, congratulations, guys, on this movie. It's so much fun. I had an absolute blast watching it.
Thank you.
Of
Thanks.
course. I want to start off talking about the musical performance sequences because those are like I gotta ask, like, for you guys, what was it like filming those? Because first of all, they're so cool, they're so fun. My daughter's a drummer, she's 13 and she like has been drumming since she was 7. So I'm super excited. She's a little older. I'll watch this with her. But can you talk about filming those scenes and what it was like on stage and like performing? Because that part was really cool.
It was super fun. I think like it was really cool to kind of build that sort of like make it feel like a real band with me and the other three girls. And it was I think something that I really loved, Kate and Megan sometimes to like really get us like super pumped because I think obviously like filming a band scene or like a performance scene is a little different from actually just like doing a regular performance.
Yeah.
So you're doing the same thing and like at different shots and different angles, of course. And I think to like help get us like really hyped, like Kate and Megan would come on stage and like dance around too, like behind the camera. And so I thought that was, I don't know, that was just such a fun part about it.
McKenna, what was it like for you?
Yeah, it was like from like that was one of the very first things we shot was like the angels we have heard on high. And I remember like kind of we did it in rehearsal and then we're doing it filming and it was just like we all kind of just clicked in. Like it was crazy to just be like, and now we're a band. Okay, cool. And I remember like feeling like Francis was such like a high energy character that I was like all over the place. And I've recently seen like that little bit and I was like, whoa, like how was I able to do that take after take after take? Because it's just like ah.
I do love how like wild Francis is. Like, what is it like getting in that mindset? I feel like if I was doing that, I'd have to like after be like, okay, relax, calm down. You know what I mean?
I it kind of felt like a train that had to like keep chugging. Like we did a night shoot where the scene just kind of starts out with me being like, that was amazing. And there's a blooper. And like half of these things, like with Francis, it just felt so natural. And like I just kind of like let her go and like take on that some things like I just didn't remember doing. But there's a blooper where like between each take, I'm going like this to like hype myself up and then I would go.
I can
Yeah,
totally
like
see that.
McKenna was like in it the whole time. I think that's the way you said it, like it was a train that had to keep chugging. Like we would call cut and she would stop, but she would be like trying to just like keep the energy up. And then the minute we would call action, she'd be like like full Muppet.
I love that. That's so perfect. Megan, can you talk about the inspiration behind this? Because this movie, I'm telling you, it was so fun.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so I actually went to an all-girls Catholic school in Miami, which was a very specific experience growing up. And I don't like a lot of this came from that. So this was actually like the first feature script I had ever written, and I wrote it like 10 years ago or something in college. And when I revisited it as like an adult, I was like, whoa, I was really working through some stuff in this script. Which I remember like people telling me, they were like, wow, you're really putting a lot of yourself into it. And at the time I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just writing jokes. And then with distance, I was like, wow, this is pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, can you talk, Megan and Kate, can you guys talk about your working relationship? Because I'm always intrigued when there's more than one director on a project, what that collaboration is like.
I mean, we were intrigued too because this is the first. Megan and I had worked together on a TV show. That's how we met, and like we had always collaborated really well, and it just like seemed to just flow naturally. But we never co-directed until this, and so we were also like, "What's this gonna be like?" And it was really great. It's really like I think a lot of our relationship is just like very yes anding, and like seeing how like when someone has an idea, like taking that and then building upon it and like going in that direction.
Mhm.
And I think we both just align really well in like what we're trying to achieve with each scene, which allows us to then like just collaborate really well and like work towards the same goal.
Yeah, and for me, it was like a relief almost to have someone to go through this process with because like a feature film is such a it's like a marathon, you know? Whereas like Kate and I met, the show that we worked for was a sketch show, and like sketch comedy is like, you know, these quick little things where it's a lot of work, but it's not this like sustained effort. And so it was so nice to have a buddy just to like check in with also, but then also like sometimes one of us would be like giving a note and the words just like weren't like the brain and the mouth weren't connecting. And I could just like look at Kate and be like, "Do you know?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I know." And then he would be able to give like the note that we both knew needed to be given. And we could like tag in and tag out, which was, it ended up being like such a relief that was like an unexpected relief in that way.
Yeah, no, I love that. I do want to say there was a couple of times where it felt very like Scott Pilgrimy to me, kind of like, the things on screen and stuff. Was that one of your inspirations, or do you have other film inspirations?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely Edgar Wright is a huge inspiration. I feel like the Coen Brothers was like another big
Yeah.
inspiration for us. And like, I think Megan and I, we both like, we have a lot of media that like growing up, especially like a coming of age story that like we grew up on and we like hold very near and dear to our hearts is like peak cinema. And we wanted to like lean on those, but not steal from those necessarily, because we still
Mhm.
wanted it to be our own thing. And we were trying to do something different and unique that hopefully comes across and not just doing like Scott Pilgrim,
Yeah, no, no,
but
no.
it's girls.
Right. No, just little inspiration. I was like, oh, that's kind of Scott Pilgrimy, but then it's like something totally different. Yeah.
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 So hopefully it came across like that, but definitely like those are huge inspirations for us. And I mean, we're definitely referencing those and pulling stuff from those movies.
Yeah, I think it was like we have there's like a group of films and filmmakers that like we pulled from, but we were very conscious to be like, well, what like serves this scene instead of just being
Yeah.
like, well, we want to do this thing stylistically. We want to be like, yeah, every choice we made was in service of the narrative and in service of like furthering the like emotional story or like what is happening. And so yeah, we stole a little bit from Edgar Wright because he gets visual comedy. He just gets it and he gets pace.
Yeah.
And then we also stole a little bit from the Coen Brothers, and we stole a little bit from Steven Spielberg, you know, because that guy
Mhm.
knows how to put a camera in place and block his actors.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Addie McKenna, what was it really about this like script and this story that drew you to want to be, a part of it all?
I think the concept is so fun. I personally am like a huge fan of School of Rock, and so it felt like
Mhm.
there were like little notes of School of Rock, but in a way that felt, I don't know, different, right? And so it was like a new take on something that I held really dear to me. Plus, the like writing is so good. That was something that really, really drew me in from the first time we even got sides. Like the first tape I sent in, I was like, "Whoa, this writing is really like cool and it's refreshing because it feels really genuine and also like age appropriate."
Mhm.
Um, and so I loved the writing. That was another big pull for me.
Yeah, and Edie and Francis's dynamic was just so like, I don't know, like attractive. Like seeing these two people who were so obviously best friends. And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of the time when you see girls, like teenage girls written in media, it's very prescriptive. And this was so honest and like genuine, and it kind of almost felt like the way that like Jonah Hill and Michael Cera love each other in Superbad, like where it's just kind of messy, but like it's such a true friendship. Like that's kind of how Francis and Edie are, and that was something that was just like it really drew me to it.
Yeah, no, I really think it's important to have like honest female friendships on screen because so often it's they're competing for a guy or they're always fighting, there's always going to be this conflict and you're like, can't they just be friends? You
Yeah, I
know?
love that
Mhm.
Francis is just so pro Edie, get a guy. Like she does not care for herself at all, but she's so excited for her friend.
Even when she's throwing up, she's like, go get
Yeah.
it. Which I love. When you guys read the script, was there a scene you guys, the two of you were like, oh my God, I can't wait to film that?
Oh, so many. I feel like that's a really good one. The like the scene after they perform for the first time, or even the scene where like Edie gets thrown up on stage the first time too.
Yeah.
It's like, I just think the writing is so funny. Honestly, that whole sequence where they're like going to the Biscuits for the first time and Edie's dressed like a librarian. Like, I just, it's so funny, and like the banter's so good, and I don't know, I love that scene.
Yeah, and I remember just reading the script and reading Francis's dialogue, and like while we were filming, Francis would always sit like this, like a bro, like knees spread, and we called it her Fran spread. And I remember just, I remember reading the script, and like while I was reading it out loud, my body language started to just like sink in, like.
I love
That's
it.
actually crazy because Kade and I storyboarded like every single moment of this movie. And there was a scene, the scene where they're like sort of getting reprimanded by like the cool nun by Sister Sheena. And in that storyboard, we had drawn Francis specifically sitting like this. We didn't show these storyboards to Adi or McKenna or truly like any of the actors. And McKenna just like took that position, and Kade and I were like, oh my God, it's happening.
We didn't even have to say it. She just
No.
knew.
You just got it. Their instincts were so like spot on, you know?
Oh, I love that. Well, for Megan and Kate, for the two of you, was there something that maybe you thought was going to be like really hard to pull off, but then it was easier, or vice versa?
Go ahead, Megan.
I was gonna say, I think that we had a lot of like naivete when we were going into this project, which served us. I think we were like, this is gonna be hard, but we didn't think about like what that meant or was going to look like or like was going to feel like on the body. So I think the whole film was so much more arduous than we thought it was going to be. Just because like lack of resources and we're wearing so many hats and we don't have any time and just like the stakes of trying to make something that feels authentic to I don't know your voice and your vision and what you want. So I feel like the whole process was like much harder than we thought it was going to be. And I don't know if anything was easier. Kate, was anything easier?
I mean, I think I thought it was going to be hard to like maintain our vision. I guess, well, Megan and I both, this is like our first project that like we fully 100% have like creative control over, and there's no one telling us what we can or can't do. And I thought that might be a little bit harder to like maintain our creative vision through it.
Mhm.
So I think that came like very easy in a way that like I was ready to like fight for some stuff and be like, no, this is how we're gonna do it. This is how it has to be done. This is our vision.
But
And
there was
like
no one to
that
fight.
was never ever the case.
Oh, that's so good. I gotta say real quick before we wrap too, the title like NunDead is like the perfect band name ever. Was that always like the name, or did you go through iterations of other ones?
No, that was in the script, I think, from like the first draft.
Yes, it's so good. I was like, that's perfect. That's so perfect. It was so good. Well, thank you guys so much for your time and congratulations. I really had a blast with this movie and I can't wait for everyone to get to see it.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.